This episode was sponsored by Nexigo. Hey guys, it's Karl, and we've got another setup video today, and I've rightly named it the Pro setup, as most items behind me do have that Pro name. And as we approach the end of the year, most products are kind of out for 2021. So these are the items, or I guess the best items that you can grab. And I get that they're not budget friendly, they're near the top end of that price spectrum, and until 2022 rolls around, then that deathly cycle kind of repeats itself and we try to make those tinkering upgrades. So you can almost think of this as a dream setup, and I get you don't have to have every one of these items, but hopefully it gives you a bit of inspiration to build out your own setup, whatever that may be. We'll start off with the first item, which is I guess the newest one, and I think a lot of you want to hear about it. It is the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip. And I'll start off by saying it's an expensive device. The exact model that I have is spec'd around $5,500. You can go all the way up to $7,500, around 10,000 Canadian if you add tax to it, which is kind of mind-blowing for a laptop. I get that the performance is really good, but my recommended spec is in and around that $3,500 range. And unless you are a true professional working with 4K, 8K files, that probably means your studio is paying for this machine. You do not need the M1 Max chip. The M1 Pro is more than enough. You don't need 8 terabytes of storage. That's ridiculous. But kind of speaking through my experience over the past week with it, yeah, it's an absolute dream, as it should be for that price. It is nice to see them bringing back an older style form factor, something thicker with more accessible ports. I love using the SD card slot. I think most content creators, anyone that uses a camera or a separate camera, loves the fact that you no longer need to have a dongle or carry one with you everywhere. I'm happy to put up with that extra thickness. It's one of those sacrifices for that increase in battery life. Once again, like all of the M1 architecture, from the M1 to the M1 Pro to the M1 Max, it is the best battery life that you can get in a laptop, kind of end of debate. I've been personally getting around 20 hours of video playback, which is kind of nuts. And once again, another benefit of that extra thickness is increased airflow, so increased cooling, and even all of the videos that I've been working on. So I've been throwing 4K timelines at this, a couple streams. I'm not into that 8K range yet, but it has not even activated yet. So it still runs nice and cool, nice and quiet. The screen, which is a huge upgrade, as the name implies, it is 16 inches, but it does have thinner bezels. It does have the notch, which we'll get to in a second. It is a liquid Retina XDR panel, so it really mimics the liquid Retina display, which I have on top of it, which we'll also get to in a second. It's insanely bright, it's insanely vibrant, so 1,000 nits across the board, up to 1,600 nits peak nit brightness. It's the best display that I've used on a laptop, and it also has ProMotion, so up to 120 hertz. It's of course adaptive, so when you're scrolling through text, going through web pages, it's nice and quick, and it's actually got a better refresh rate than the Pro Display XDR on top of it. So I'd actually argue the viewing experience is better on a laptop, but if you are seated for many hours in a day, having that extra screen just a bit higher up is super handy. One question a lot of people had about the notch: is it's a deal breaker? I do think it's a bit annoying because it's such a large area. The only thing inside is actually the front-facing camera. I don't really see the big need for that large notch, but there's actually no useful info there anyways. Typically, that's where your toolbar lives, and if you are viewing something full screen, that kind of area or that toolbar is fully blacked out. If you do a screen recording or capture a screenshot, that area is kind of filled in. There's nothing else really to say. We're kind of stuck with it. So if it really is an eyesore for you, the best thing that you can do is probably stick a dark wallpaper to kind of mask the top of your panel. On top of the 16-inch, because it's a dream setup or an ultimate setup, you have to use the recommended monitor, which is the Pro Display XDR. Once again, something that is really, really expensive. I don't know if it's justifiable for the price, especially the stand, which is $1,000 on its own for a piece of aluminum. I get that it's studio grade and it does match the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the silver finish. More than anything, I think it's a piece of art. It looks gorgeous. There are other reference monitors out there. They're not as premium, they don't look as good, and they don't have as nice of a build, but they have a way cheaper price tag. So the LG OLED Pro comes to mind. I know that studios like Sony and Pixar use them, and their color reproduction is really good and really true, so I'll leave that link down below as well. You can actually kind of peep the little addition I've got to my Pro Display XDR, which is actually today's video sponsor, which is the Nexigo webcam. More specifically, the N950p. It kind of fits in perfectly with its silver finish, and I know the 16-inch MacBook Pro just got that upgrade to a 1080p camera, but because this is a baller edition, a dream setup, I think everything should at least be in 4K. I can't wait till we get 8K webcams. But yeah, this is a solid option if you want to up the quality, and it does live higher up on the monitor. So it gives you a nicer kind of look, whereas on the 16-inch MacBook Pro or any laptop webcam, you kind of get the ugly chin angle because it sits so low on the ground. What I love, it's a simple plug and play option. I do have a dongle in the back to support all of my USB-A accessories. It's got great viewing angles because you can articulate it pretty easily, and I know that most of us still take a lot of calls at home or are still working from home, so Zoom meetings are still a norm. Or if you're rocking it on Teams or even FaceTime, just having something with better quality is always nice to have. It's actually a great little webcam if you want to get into streaming. And it's also got a dual stereo mic. It's good enough that I don't need to rock an external pair of headphones or an extra microphone. So definitely a solid option. And once again, setting that baseline at 4K, and it's worth that Pro name. For Windows fans, I want to show you guys some love also. This is the Surface Laptop Studio. It kind of just came into the studio. This is the first device that I am using with Windows 11, and it's one of the most unique laptops and kind of holds that Pro name or part of that ultimate setup name. It's got this really cool form factor where you can actually articulate the screen into a bit of a tablet. And I do like that because you don't need to interact with the screen still and kind of keep it free of any fingerprints. So it's definitely a Pro device. It kind of carries that Pro price tag as well, but it is a solid option if you are in the Windows space. It's got the same premium build of a MacBook, and you get the benefits of being on Windows, mainly gaming, or if you're into the Windows ecosystem. So I've been rocking the new Age of Empires on it. I'm getting some really great frame rates on it, and that's something that Macs still can't do, play AAA titles, or they're just not available yet. As an extra little bonus, if you are on Windows or Xbox, I'll give you a 12-month Game Pass Ultimate code. Let me just get this in focus. That'll kind of be a first come, first serve. Yeah, congrats to whoever snags that. Back to, I guess, the setup. I kind of guess I forgot to mention what it's living on. So for example, the entire thing is on a Rove Concepts kitchen desk. It's made for a dining room. I find the extra real estate of these larger desks is better than some of the workstation or student desks. If you do have the extra space, I would recommend getting something larger. All of the items on top of that are sitting on a Grove-made felt pad, so you can get them in the either light gray, which is kind of the theme that I've got going. It kind of meshes well with the white and the lighter maple wood finish. It kind of serves two purposes, so all the items don't shift around, and it also acts as a makeshift mouse pad. I am rocking the Logitech MX Master 3. If there's one accessory that's the cheapest on the list and probably the most essential, I would say it's the mouse. I kind of swear by these things, and I've used this since it came out, and I won't upgrade to anything else until the MX Master 4 comes out. It's just kind of one of those things. If you're sitting behind a desk for 7-8 hours a day, just get something nice for your hand. That's probably my oldness talking. The last thing that you want is a bit of carpal tunnel. The Pro Display XDR is sitting on a wood riser. You can get these from anywhere, from Grove Made, from Amazon. I think mine is from Ergon. It's not a necessary thing to have, but I just find it adds extra height to the setup, and it's actually great so all of the cables kind of pass through underneath to keep cable management pretty simple. The thing I do love about laptops these days, they just kind of run off of one USB-C cable that goes to the actual monitor. So in this instance, it's wiser to use that over the new MagSafe charger for the 16-inch. Although the MagSafe charger will technically charge your laptop faster, I'm willing to make that sacrifice for having a cleaner desk with one less cable. I'll let you guys be the judge on which is a better option. The rest of the accessories around my desk, the two monitors are the Yamaha HS7s, and those are studio monitors, not display monitors. They're actually great for sound playback. They're, I think, my oldest pieces of tech in my desk setups. I think I've had them for 7 to 8 years. They sound great, they look even better. I still haven't found a pair of speakers or monitors that look as good. They've got the entire Stormtrooper look with the white and black. And the only other thing that has a cable on my desk set up is actually a wireless charger. So this is the 3-in-1 charger from Samsung. It's great because I can charge multiple devices, so I typically have my Apple and Android combo, both with that Pro name, so the 13 Pro Max as my daily, as well as the Pixel 6 Pro. I think probably two of the best camera smartphones that you can get. The last spot there is dedicated to my AirPods or any other pair of wireless headphones that I'm typically testing out. The rest of my desk accessories, once again, no cables involved here, so I've got some OG tech, I guess, kind of. We've got a pairing of a classic notebook and pen, and I am kind of one of those people that do like to still jot down notes in the old-fashioned way, so usually my to-do lists are kind of written down. I find I can retain that info a bit better, so this is just a simple day planner and this cool little pen combo. One of my favorites. I do love stationery, so this is once again from Grovemade, and it's their stainless steel pen combo. One of those things that's probably overpriced, but I guess it's perfect to fit in this ultimate setup. It just is a nice hefty pen. There's something nice about having some heft to it, and the little pen holder, which has also got some weight to it with some walnut wood. I geek out about stationery. Off to the side, I have this little architecture book, and I think a lot of you know I'm designing or giving input to my designer for my future house that I'm building. So this is just nice to get some inspo. I am making a separate video about that that I think a lot of you are really interested in, so stay posted. Off to the other side is the current camera that I'm using. It's the Sony A7 IV. You know, I think currently the best video and photo combo camera that you can get. So 33 megapixel full frame sensor. And this is obviously the successor to the A7 III, which kind of changed the mirrorless game. It's the camera that made most people switch from, I guess, DSLRs from Canon, from Nikon, into the Sony space. This has now some nice little updates. It's got the little flip out screen, so great for video creators. I am kind of team Sony, and I wish I kind of knew about these before I bought my two A7S IIIs, because for the stuff that I do here on YouTube, I think the S3 is a bit overkill. I don't really use it for low light. I record in a really bright studio. So yeah, if you're in the market for a camera, I can't kind of swear by this enough. The lens that I am rocking on it is the 24-105 G Master, and you can kind of see on the wood shelves, once again from Grovemade, in that same maple wood finish. You can see I've got another couple lenses sticking around the back of my monitor. I think it kind of just gives it a nice look, and it's easy to access when I am shooting B-roll on my desk. So I've got the 24-70 2.8 G Master and a 90mm macro. The thing that I do love now with that 16-inch MacBook Pro, I know that I could have done this before with a dongle, but just taking photos and just taking this SD card right into the computer, it keeps, once again, my workspace clean, it keeps it minimal, and you don't have to carry around ugly dongles all the time. So that's kind of my camera setup. And the last piece of tech which you'll see is just a pair of noise canceling headphones. I think those are essential just to kind of focus in on what you're working on, or to help prevent you from getting distracted from anything else that is going on around you. These are the Sony WH-1000 Mark IIIs. I know the Mark IVs are out. I didn't really see the need to upgrade. Old tech still works just as fine. These are actually my preferred pair, and I do have the AirPod Pro Maxes. I guess these technically should have been in the video because they have the Pro name, but once again, something that I can't justify for the price, the fact that you need that weird little case to charge them. And in terms of noise canceling, now that travel has somewhat picked up again, these are still my go-to pair, even 2 years down the road. So yeah, that is kind of my pro or ultimate dream desk setup for the end of the year. You'll probably see all my bits of Lego. I'm a huge Lego fan. Obviously, those don't have the Pro name, so I've got my Star Wars Lego. I've got my Porsche Lego model, which was one of my last favorite builds. You know, everyone can go out and grab a laptop, a mouse, a monitor, but it's these unique little pieces which kind of make it your own. And yeah, if you're into little desk accessories, I'm curious what you guys put on your desk to make it unique. Let me know down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this Dream or Pro episode, and until next year's desk setup where we kind of revamp the entire thing and the hecticness and tinkering will take place and kind of reset what this looks like. We'll catch you hopefully in one of those next episodes. Peace!